and our hands are clean. Ready? Woohoo! It's time for positive actions.
¡Hola! Es hora de acción positiva.
Mrs. Hot and
Miss Shaima,
welcome you to the Morgan County Partnership's Positive Actions Daily Community Vlogcast. Señora Hot
y Shaima, os damos la bienvenida a los vídeos diarios de acción positiva.
Today is Wellness Wednesday. Hoy es
miércoles maravilloso.
Maravilloso. Wow. Oh, let's get ready for a awesome day full of learning and wellness.
¿Listos para un maravilloso día de aprendizaje y bienestar?
The positive action word for this week is creativity, and in Spanish, creatividad. Now, watch this beautiful lesson of Wellness Wednesday.
Hi, my name is Emery, and this week for the word of positive actions is creativity, and in Spanish the word is creatividad.
Our next little leader is Ida B. Wells, journalist and activist. Ida was a natural-born activist. Wherever she saw injustice, she stood up against it. She was born a slave in Mississippi, but emancipation came to the South when she was still a child. And this meant that she had the opportunity to get an education. After college, she worked as a teacher but lost her job for criticizing the poor conditions of the black segregated schools. In 1884, 71 years before Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a bus in Montgomery, Alabama, Ida refused to leave her seat in the women's car on a train in Memphis, Tennessee. She had purchased a first-class ticket but was asked to leave and join the American African car. Ida did not go quietly. Good for you, Ida. She filed a lawsuit against the railroad and eventually won her case. There was no rule that said black women could not ride in the women's car. However, segregation legislation was soon implemented in Tennessee, and Ida received no further justice in the matter. 3 years later, her case was overturned. She took her frustrations and wrote an article in the newspaper under the name Iola, and later became known as Iola, Princess of the Press. Journalism became her outlet. She was the owner and editor of the Memphis Free Speech and Headlight, and later the Free Speech. She took a major stance against lynching and faced death threats for her words. In 1898, she led a huge anti-lynching campaign all the way to the White House. Ida knew the power of words and knowledge, and she continued to use her voice to stand up for what is right. Wow. Thank you, Ida B. Wells. How will you use your voice to stand up for what is right? Thanks for being a little leader.
That was awesome, Super Scholars. Now pause the video and take a time for let's talk about it time.
Today, we are going to read A Place to Grow. A Place to Grow, written by Stephanie Bloom and illustrated by Kelly Murphy. The tiny seed floated down from the sky and landed on the earth without a sound. Could this be my place to grow, the tiny seed wondered? I hope so, for as long as I can remember, I have been searching for a home. Where had it landed this time? It was shady and cool. The ground was buckled and cracked, like something was pushing from deep inside. "Whoa!" exclaimed the tiny seed. It had landed at the foot of an enormous tree. "This looks like the perfect place for me to put down roots," the tiny seed declared. "Looks can be deceiving," replied the tree in a voice so deep it made the ground hum. "This forest is no place for a little seed to grow. My roots are so tangled and thirsty you would never get enough soil or water, and my branches are so broad that they would steal all of your sunlight. You could never grow here." "I will never grow anywhere," sighed the tiny seed. "Yes, you will," chuckled the big tree. "Because that's what seeds do. We grow. It happens to all of us, and one day you will find the place that's right for you. It will have everything you need to take root. Until then, enjoy your journey, my little friend." "Oh, wind," called the tiny seed, "please come and get me. This is not my place to grow." So the wind blew in and carried the tiny seed far, far away. The tiny seed floated down from the sky and landed on the earth without a sound. Could this be my place to grow? The tiny seed wondered. Where had it landed this time? A buzzing bee danced from flower to flower. It landed, then darted back in surprise. Butterflies. Oof! The tiny seed was moving. A giant ant had snatched it up and was racing towards a big pile of sand. "Stop! Put me down!" yelled the tiny seed. Oh my, wheezed the ant with surprise. "I thought you were a pebble. I was going to use you on top of my anthill. You would make a dandy front door." "I'm no pebble," said the tiny seed with a huff. "I'm a seed waiting to grow. Can't you see that?" "This park is a busy, busy place, and I'm a busy, busy ant. I don't have time to notice everything," snapped the ant and raced off to finish building its home. "I wish I could build a home like the ant," thought the tiny seed. "But a seed needs roots, not sand and pebbles." "Oh, wind," called the tiny seed, "this is not my place to grow. Please come and get me." So the wind blew in and carried the tiny seed far, far away. The tiny seed floated down from the sky and landed on the earth without a sound. Could this be my place to grow? The tiny seed wondered. Where had it landed this time? Silky tufts of clover blanketed the fresh green pasture. Chomp, chomp, chomp. The tiny seed looked up and gasped. A cow's huge wet tongue was headed straight toward it. "Watch where you're eating," hollered the tiny seed. "You almost made me your lunch." Chomp, chomp, chomp. "Hey, cow," shouted the tiny seed. "Did you hear me?" The hungry cow didn't hear a thing and kept on chewing. Chomp, 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 gulp, burp. The hungry cow licked its lips and leaned down to take another bite. Just as the tiny seed was about to be eaten, the wind blew in and carried it far, far away. The tiny seed floated down from the sky and landed on the earth without a sound. Could this be my place to grow? The tiny seed wondered. Where had it landed this time? A weathered wooden fence guarded rows and rows of ripe vegetables. "Scram!" barked a red tomato. "Every spot's taken!" screeched a yellow pepper. "What about over there?" asked the tiny seed and pointed to an empty patch of soil. "I promised I would grow so quietly you would never know I was there." "Well," boomed a plump purple eggplant, "that row is for rutabagas. Are you a rutabaga?" I don't know, replied the tiny seed. I don't even know if I'm a vegetable. We knew what kind of seeds we were right from the start, squeaked Green Zucchini. A gardener brought us home from the greenhouse in packets with our name on them. Then I'm definitely not a vegetable, said the tiny seed sadly. I don't come from a packet. I float down from the sky, and I'm not planted by a gardener. I have to plant myself. In that case, boomed the eggplant, you can't grow in our garden. We're sorry, but you just don't belong here. This is not my place to grow, said the tiny seed very softly, and without having to be asked, the wind blew in and carried the tiny seed far, far away. The tiny seed cried as the wind gently cradled it in its swirling current. You must never lose hope, whispered the wind. But I have searched and searched, the tiny seed sobbed, and there is no place for me to grow. I will never find a home. For as long as time, whispered the wind, I have carried all kinds of seeds across the earth, and one by one each seed found its own special place to grow. But I'm not like other seeds, said the tiny seed with a sniffle. I'm a floater, not a grower. You are a grower, whispered the wind, because that's what seeds do. They grow. You sound just like the old tree, said the tiny seed. That old tree was once a tiny seed and rode with me just like you, whispered the wind. Now it's time for you to float down to the ground and look again. No, wind, I want to stay here with you. Please don't let me go, cried the tiny seed. Don't be afraid. You will find your place to grow and blossom, and I will be there. I will always be there, whispered the wind, and gently released the tiny seed from its airy embrace. The tiny seed floated down from the sky and landed on the earth without a sound. Could this be my place to grow, the tiny seed wondered. Where had it landed this time? Giant hills rolled up to the clouds, filling the valley below with a peaceful calm. Exhausted from all its adventures, the tiny seed yawned and fell sound asleep. Choo, choo, choo! A puffing steam engine roared and spun the tiny seed high into the air. 1 minute I was dreaming of growing, and now I can't tell up from down, shouted the tiny seed. This is definitely not my place to grow. Wind, please come and get me. So the wind blew in and carried the tiny seed far, far away. The tiny seed floated down from the sky and landed on the earth without a sound. I'm sure this is not my place to grow, thought the tiny seed. It never is. Where had it landed this time? Blades of tall, shiny grass swayed as if saying hello. A lively band of crickets sang a friendly song of welcome. Soon I will discover the reason why this place can't be my home. Then I will have to float through the sky again. So the tiny seed waited, and waited, and waited, and waited. While the tiny seed waited in the grassy meadow, the sun peeked out from behind a cloud. Ah, the sunlight is so warm here, said the tiny seed as it was bathed in a golden glow. Later, a light rain showered down. The water is so sweet here, said the tiny seed as it drank and drank and drank. Soon the rain stopped. Oh, the soil is so soft here, said the tiny seed as it snuggled deeply into the moist earth. Then the tiny seed felt the wind blow into the meadow, and although it loved the wind, the tiny seed was filled with a deep sadness at having to leave this place and float again. The wind blew and blew and blew. But a strange thing happened. The tiny seed didn't float up into the sky, and the wind didn't carry it far, far away. The tiny seed couldn't move. It was held firmly in place by a root that was as strong as it was tiny. The tiny seed was growing at last. Oh, wind, shouted the tiny seed with joy. I have finally found my place to grow. I belong here in this grassy meadow. You are home, the wind whispered back. Enjoy your new journey. And there, in the grassy meadow, the tiny seed grew and grew.
Welcome back, positive partners out there, from home and school to the daily community broadcast. Today is Wellness Wednesday. Join us for a mindfulness minute. Let's get ready for relax those muscles and to feel healthy and well.
Hi, and welcome to Headspace. So no matter what's going on in your life right now, no matter how many thoughts are racing around your mind, no matter how the body's feeling, just take a moment to sit down and take a big deep breath, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. As you breathe in, a sense of taking in fresh air, the lungs expanding. As you breathe out, a sense of letting go of any stress in the body, in the mind, just feeling the muscles soften and relax. And close your eyes if you'd like to. One more, breathing deeply in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just take a moment to pause, allow the thoughts to come and go. And then just gently opening the eyes again.
Well, she sneaks around the world from Miami to Carolina. She's a sticky fingered filter from Berlin down to Belize. She'll take you for a ride on a slow boat to China. Tell me where in the world is
Positive action.
Where in Morgan County are positive actions? Woo! Where are they? Oh, hey! Super scholars, awesome neighbors, and positive partners. Mrs. Hot here. Today is Wednesday, and you know what that means? I'm so excited! Wednesday is where in Morgan County are positive actions? Hey, have you seen any today? Well, take a look at this video. It is somewhere in Morgan County where Mrs. Shema and I were out, and we found some positive actions! So now, it's up to you. Watch this video and see if you can discover where we are. And if you know, here's what I want you to do. I want you to send me an email. Yes, email Mrs. Hot at Angie@morganpartnership.org. Right, here's the address. Yes, and in that email, tell me your name, your teacher's name, and where you think we are. Send in your guess, and we'll take a look at that. And if you're right, you will be entered to win a Awesome Possum program shirt. Aren't they beautiful, you guys? Take a look at this. I am unique, important, valuable, and wonderfully made. And see on the back? So, positive partners, are you ready? You know what to do? Here's your assignment. Watch this video. Look for positive actions in our neighborhood, guys, because they are everywhere. And send me an email if you can guess the right location. Now, I have a shout out. Are you guys ready? Shout out to Miss Kidwell's Super Scholars from 5th grade last school year. Look what I have. Isn't that cool? Yes, before we were home for the lockdown, I got a great list of secret places around Morgan County where her 5th graders, Miss Kidwell's 5th graders, found some positive actions. So stay tuned this year because they're big middle schoolers now, right guys? And you know what? Anyone can play, from kindergarten to senior year to at home and virtual school or around the county. We're looking for positive actions in our neighborhood because they are everywhere. So, keep looking. Watch this video. When you go out in Morgan County, you find a positive action. I want to hear about it. All right. Where in Morgan County are positive actions? All right, signing off now. Mrs. Hot. On another assignment, looking for positive actions. Wait. Oh, there's one over there. I gotta go record that. See ya. Bye.
super scholars and positive partners, go to materials and PositiveValuesNetwork.com for daily family fun. You're gonna find really cool things to do with family art therapy. Have fun!
Thank you for joining us from your home, your school, or your community.
Gracias por acompañarnos desde vuestra escuela, hogar o comunidad.
And remember, you are unique, you are important, and you are wonderfully made.
Recordad, sois especiales, importantes y maravillosos.
Aww. All right.